Hello everyone, Lawrence Fleming again. Today I want to talk a little bit about one of the two witnesses that we believe will be showing up again. This is someone from the Old Testament. We're told that he was here at the time of Jesus. Possibly the John the Baptist character was Elijah. But I also want to talk about the fact that sometimes we have to step in where we've been trained and go ahead and do what we've been trained to do. And so that's going to be a little bit of the story of Elijah and his student Elisha. Just all you have to know, I'm not going to go too much into the naming, but Elijah and Elisha, El is God. So anyhow, that'd be another story. I want to look at 2 Kings chapter 2, starting in verse 1. And this is after Elijah's already come out and has decided to go ahead and continue his ministry. He was afraid for a little bit because they were trying to kill him. In verse 2, and it came to pass when the Lord was about to take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind. Now, I don't know how we're going to feel it. Can you imagine being spinning around, or maybe he didn't have to spin, I don't know, lifted by a whirlwind? We're told the two witnesses are going to be there with power. Elijah's power was to call down fire. I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. Then Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to Bethel." But Elijah said, "As the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. Elisha was already told that Elijah was leaving, but he didn't want to give up 1 second. He was afraid. Elijah had a pretty big mantle. We'll get to that in a second. And Elisha didn't feel he was ready. This is before they could have the Spirit of God within them. The Spirit would surround them. And Elisha didn't think he was ready, so he wasn't going to leave his mentor. Now the sons of the prophets in verse 3, who were at Bethel, came out to Elisha and said to him, "Do you know that the Lord will take away your master from over you today?" Seems like everybody knew what was going on. And he said, "Yes, I know. Keep silent." Then Elijah said to him, "Elisha, stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to Jericho." Elisha's sort of just making the rounds, catching up with everybody before he gets taken away. He knew he was going too, so he said his goodbyes. But Elisha said to him, "As the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." So they came to Jericho. Now the sons of the prophets who were in Jericho came to Elisha and said to him, "Do you know that the Lord will take away your master from over you today?" And Elisha answers again, "Yes, I know. Keep silent." I don't know if he was going to try to hold on to his foot as he was going up. I don't know what he thought he was going to do, but he didn't want to give up any time with him. Then Elijah said to him, "Stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to the Jordan." But he said to him, "As the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." So the two of them went on, and 50 men of the sons of the prophets went out and stood facing them at a distance, while the two of them stood by the Jordan. Now Elijah took his mantle, rolled it up, and struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, so that the two of them could cross over on dry ground. Dividing waters, that's been done before too. Elijah was well with the Lord for that. And let's see now. And so it was, when they had crossed over, that Elijah said to Elisha, "Ask what I may do for you before I am taken away from you." And Elisha, being smart, because he had to take over for him, so he had to be pretty good. He just didn't think he was. "Please, let a double portion of your spirit be upon me." Not in me, but upon me. He wanted twice what Elijah had, because he didn't think he was capable. Elijah was just as capable as Elisha, but Elisha hasn't figured this out yet. I have a spider crawling on my phone. Nope, he's gone. Interesting critters out here. Okay. So he said, "You have asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so far to you. But if not, it shall not be so." Then it happened as they continued on and talked, and suddenly a chariot of fire appeared with horses on fire, separated the two of them, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it. And he cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel and its horsemen." So he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and tore them into pieces. That seems to be a common thing when you're upset. I guess nobody's had to pay $20 for a pair of jeans, or 30 or 40 nowadays. Sorry about the old-time reference. He also took up the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him, and went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan. Then he took the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him, and struck the water, and said, "Where is the Lord God of Elijah?" And when he also had struck the water, it was divided this way and that, and Elisha crossed over. Now when the sons of the prophet saw where from Jericho, who were from Jericho saw him. Okay, let me start over again. Now when the sons of prophets who were from Jericho saw him, they said, "The spirit of Elijah rests on Elisha." And they came to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. Then they said to him, "Look now, there are 50 strong men with your servants. Please let them go and search for your master, lest perhaps the Spirit of the Lord has taken him and cast him upon some mountain." And he said to them, You shall not send anyone. But when they urged him till he was ashamed, he said, "Send them." Therefore they sent 50 men. They searched for 3 days and did not find him. When they came back to him, for he had stayed in Jericho, he said to them, "Did I not say to you, do not go?" And then it goes on to talk about Elisha performing miracles. Okay, well, we know that the two witnesses are going to be witnesses of God. They're going to know God. They're going to know Jesus. And they're going to have power. People that are well representing God have power. That's how you're going to know. Now, be careful, because when Satan gets down here, he's going to have power too. And he's going to try to emulate everything that God has done. And there's going to be these battles going on. The two witnesses are going to fight. They're going to kill, and then eventually they're going to be killed. And then they're going to be raptured away quickly. That's something that hopefully we won't see. We're still looking for the high watch time coming up, the middle of the month. But if we're wrong, don't lose heart. We're in the season. We're just guessing at dates. We don't know. Nobody knows. And it's the not knowing the day and the hour. That's the second coming. That's not the rapture. The rapture is merely talked about, but it's not discussed in the term of a time. And as I've said before, throughout history, all the things that have gone wrong on this planet that God could have raptured people from. More bugs. I keep getting bit up here. If I Don't police the areas I'm talking. These ants like to bite. Satan doesn't do anything he can to be a pest. It's all right. We're going to all laugh when he loses, just like we laugh when the coyote loses with the roadrunner. Okay. These things coming up are going to be similar to what Moses had to do when he throws the staff down and it turns into a snake, and Pharaoh's wise men or religious leaders throw their staffs down and they turn into a snake too. Well, Moses' snake ate their snakes. No matter what tricks Satan copies, because that's all they can do is copy on earth, they're never going to be as good or as strong as what you've got. So if you're being hit by Satan, calm yourself down, get quiet with the Lord, pray with him, commune with him for a little while, get a peace in you. And then when you're at that state, tell Satan to get out of your life. Get behind me, Satan. You can do that. You can command Satan in the name of Jesus as long as you're in good standing. You can't be sinning, whatever it is. And when you're away from Jesus for a little bit, you really don't know. That spider's coming back after me. He's a jumping spider. Got two big white eyes, and they jump. Okay. God has some interesting creatures, and they've all got a job to do. They're servants of God. They've each got a job. They don't complain. The spider doesn't complain that he can't fly, although this one can jump. They're true servants. Okay, that's another little green bug, but he's okay. I saw a tick on the table a few days ago, so I'm jumpy. Ticks are the dangerous ones. Those are the ones that bite and suck your blood. They're vampires. Sort of. The problem is they carry disease. And Lyme disease is a well-known one, disease that they carry. See, we've had things around forever, long before the big C. And we didn't scare the world and we didn't shut it down. That's another perfect sign that we're in the end times. Another big bee. They got bumblebees here that are monstrous. And I had one yesterday. I was sitting in my chair and it just came up and just hovered right in front of my nose. Bzzz. I was like, go away, you're making too much noise. Anyhow, I'm going to keep doing what I need to do. So far, they're just getting in my face. They're not really hurting me. I got a couple of bites on my arm where they got underneath me and I squished them and they didn't like it, so they bit me or stung me. They're just defending themselves. That spider's just still coming back. I see him on the side. He wants to see what's going on. He wants to get on the camera. I saw a baby snake, about that big, trying to crawl across the hot pavement. He didn't make it. So there's snakes around here too. All the kind of critters you can think of. Tomorrow I will be moving from this campsite. So I'm getting this video ready for tomorrow. And I'm going to move about, I think about an hour south. I don't know if it's west or east. It's almost due south, but it's a little ways from here. It's going to be along the Chattahoochee River. A lot of the names in Georgia are Indian names because we used to have the Cherokee Indians and some others around here before the people at the time showed what kind of an evil nature people can have sometimes. They found gold in Georgia and they didn't want to take the chance. The Indian says, you can have that yellow rock. We don't like it. We don't want it. But they were evil-minded and evil-intended in that way that they wanted it all to themselves. They didn't want to have to give it up. But there wasn't going to be a fight. But they drove them away. We have the Trail of Tears starting in North Georgia and going west. We've treated people badly over the years. So if there's any doubt that we have a sin nature, just look at history. And there's been all kinds of attempts to get our attention. Since we know that we've been in the last time since Jesus, and that we've seen all these plagues throughout history, there are attempts to reach man. The spider's coming right back at me. He's underneath the tripod looking at me. I don't know if he's just curious. I don't know. Don't know what's in the minds of a spider. Bugs and animals and stuff all have a guiding nature, an instinct or a programming. They're miniature robots. We look at robots in this day and age and think that we're real clever, that we can create them. God created them a long time ago. And these robots are self-sustaining. Our robots are not. Artificial intelligence. Well, I can say that some people have had that for a long time. He's moving closer and closer. He's curious. And I'm curious. It takes so little to keep a simple mind busy. Squirrel. All right. We know that the players are probably around. Our two witnesses are probably alive and around. The antichrist is probably alive and around someplace. We know that Hitler was alive and well and doing nothing spectacular before he became famous in saving Germany from a depression. He didn't have the spirit of Satan in him, controlling him. He certainly didn't have the Spirit of God in him. So the people that are involved in our story coming up are out there. But we don't know who they are. People guess. If we were meant to know, it would have said in the Bible who we need to know. It doesn't. So we don't need to know who they are. A little spider is on the ground. And instead of going away from me, he's coming at me. All right, I need to go ahead and wrap up here. I'm going to get up from this chair because I've been seated too long. This place has a nice, cool area to hang out. There's trees behind me. On the other side of it is the Sweetwater Creek. And there's a lake off in that direction that feeds it. And it goes down into the bigger lake down at the Sweetwater State Park where I was at before. I am going to do some hiking around these trails. This is pretty level. The new campsite, I'm going to be right next to the river. I don't know if I can throw my fishing pole in from my tent or my chair, but I'm going to try. Since I'm fishing in a river, I will have to add the trout part to my fishing license. I can catch bass and crappie and other things, but I can't catch trout yet, so I got to go by and get that updated. I don't know why they do all this. It's just another way for the government to tax us. When we come back to our new world, we should be able to talk to them, I hope. Have deer come up into the camp and feed them. I have had raccoons in camp a lot before. I have not had a bear in the camp, but I have run into them when I'm out running around. Frankly, they're, for the most part, just afraid of us. The only time you got to worry is when they've got cubs. Then they will push aside their fear and defend the cubs. So there are things that you can do too. Push aside your fear. If you've got something keeping you from doing what you need to do for God, focus on that. Get with Him. Whatever it is. If it's a sin you can't give up, work with Him. He fully understands. There's nothing that we go through mentally that Jesus hasn't already gone through. And Satan offered him the world, which was funny. Offer the creator of the universe the world. He could create 100 worlds. But that shows the mindset of Satan. He can't think past his own pride, I guess. He was the most powerful and beautiful angel when he was Lucifer. Why would people turn and challenge God? That's one of the things that I'm curious about when we get with Jesus, to find out what would make somebody turn against God. And we do it too. We have. All of us growing up, we get mad at something happening. Go, God, this is your fault. Well, His patience is more than we can imagine. All right, keep watching. We're pretty sure that something is going to happen this month. Nothing big happened over Ramadan. That's interesting. We've got something big. And it's going to have something big to bring the rapture out. That's God's big gun, if you will, for the church. Keep us protected from Satan. It's calm now. We had a major storm go through here last night. It rained for like 6 hours. Lots of lightning, some of it very close. It's a little disconcerting when you're in a tent surrounded by trees. We're a little bit past tornado season, so I wasn't worried about that. But, I talked with God for a little while, and I was very calm about it. But needless to say, it's hard to sleep when there's thunder going on, or as I put it in my picture, when God's bowling, He keeps getting strikes, and it's noisy. All right, have a great day. I am going to start the preliminary packing. I got to be out of here tomorrow by 11 o'clock, I think it is. It's not a big deal. I've got most of my stuff already packed up, but I got some more things to put in the car that I don't need. I always bring more than I need. It's a habit that I have. And that's why I always say, be sure to stock up on more than you need. You don't have to stock up for 50 years, but at least 6 months. We may not get to use it. Leave it for some friends and family when you're gone if they don't make it. But hide your religious tracts all throughout the food. You might even leave them a message on your computer if they open it up. You give them your last warning. I'm gone, and you could be gone with me, but you didn't take me up on the offer that Jesus was presenting. You didn't want to hear about it. I bet you want to hear about it now. Well, watch this video and I'll tell you about it again. Be creative. And what are they going to do? They're going to get mad at you? You won't be here. All right. I think we're going to be meeting in the skies soon. If not, it's going to be an interesting light show, perhaps. We have our crazy leaders talking about World War III. That doesn't wake people up. I don't know what will. Okay, until we meet in the skies, God bless. I'm going to attach some of this bee footage at the end of this so you can enjoy it. You can tell we just had a rain. Look at how muddy the water is. Sweetwater Creek. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is, right there, a boat. I didn't know you could write something on this, especially with all these fallen trees. I don't know if it's somebody's parked it there or if it just floated down. Beautiful sky. Like I said, I'll be leaving here at least for a week or two. I want to get up into the mountains, Lord willing, so we'll see what goes. But I have a feeling I'm doing a little bit further traveling. We'll see what happens. I'll take you along when I do go. And that pavilion in the middle there, that's where I was earlier. Okay. I've talked enough. See you in the next video.